Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Blackshirt Breakdown. My name is Steve Mark. I'm a staff writer at Inside Nebraska, and he is the Jay Foreman, our NFL veteran and former Nebraska Blackshirt. Jay, kind of a bad one today here. We are taking a look at Nebraska's 45-7 loss at
Right.
home to the Michigan Wolverines, the Fighting Jim Harbaughs. I guess we can just start with some bare bones stats here. Nebraska was outgained in total yardage, 436 to 305, and 74 or 73 yards of that total offense came on Josh Fleeks's garbage time run, touchdown run. So just not great all around. Obviously, a ton of people left at halftime. I was up there in the press box, kind of got a good view of everything. Obviously, it was a hot day. The sun was beating down on these guys, so
Right.
why not just go somewhere else and
Take it on in. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. But Jay, kind of a disappointing effort in my opinion. But to you, what did you see on Saturday with the Huskers against Michigan?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it was a game that got out of hand quickly, and that was Michigan's probably game plan. It's their first road game, so they're trying to set a tone for their team, but then also set a tone for the rest of the Big Ten. And so that's what happens when you have, a player-led team that can, mentally get motivated to go on a road on a national primetime game to send a message, right? And there's been a lot of doubt up there in Ann Arbor. So Nebraska was on the receiving end of that. But ultimately, I felt like the one, look, you can talk about the execution, the talent gap, and all that. You knew the talent gap or the established player gap was Michigan's advantage before they got on the plane to come down here. They're a very old team, had a lot of guys coming back, but I think the most disappointing thing was I guess the fight level or the want to really test yourself, right? And everybody's been, or at least as a former player, you went into games where you're, a severe underdog and playing a team that's a little bit farther along the line. But the one thing that you have to do individually so you can really evaluate yourself, and this will confirm some of your thoughts on yourself, but then also confirm some of the things that you might have to get better at, is really go out there and compete. Because at the end of the day, if you only go out there to kind of make it look good or kind of mosey around, then you get nothing out of it. And then a year or two later, then you're really caught by surprise. So in short, the fight level or the tenacity level wasn't where it has been in the first four games. And I guess if there's a little bit of positivity or silver lining to come out of it, is because of they displayed that for 4 weeks in a row. So then you just assumed at the end of the day, that's what you'd get. And so, this isn't the end all be all, but that's just part of it. And I think that's what part of, essentially being down 45-0 and so forth and so on.
Absolutely. And so, as always with this Blackshirt breakdown, we will try to pick out a few positive plays and then also look at a few negative plays. Now, obviously, there was a lot of negative out there on Saturday for the Huskers, but there are some good instances and moments I thought during my rewatch, and I grabbed a few of them, Jay. So this first one I wanted to break down is a 1st and 10 from the Wolverines' own 40, looks like 6-7 yard line.
Right.
And I don't know. I know the defense is late to line up here,
Right.
but I think John Bullock does a hell of a job in getting kind of taking on this block from this tight end, shedding him, and getting the stop. But what did you see from this specific play, Jay?
Yeah, right here you see your back's against the wall, right? You're down 14 nothing out of it. You can't mosey around, but then sometimes, lining up like this, it kind of can put you in an advantage. But you highlighted John Bullock. He does a really good job. This is like a triple play here, right? He gets in the position, right? Takes on the tight end, gets on the fullback, makes the tackle for, a 3-yard gain. And that's a positive win in the run game on 1st and 10. And you're kind of caught by, you got one guy, strapping his helmet up, and then here comes John Bullock. Look, sometimes you're caught by surprise, but look what he does, right? You talk about good leverage, and then you got, like you said, you got to highlight some of the things. This is a guy that's making a winning football play, right? You kind of get into the tight end, read his block, right? Pads are square, so that means you can kind of bounce off that kind of, wing, the wing back there. Then you're able to take on a good back there and Dylan Edwards and making it for a 3 or 4 yard gain. So, that's a winning play when they watch it today. You want to highlight somebody like this, right? 1, 2, good leverage, right? Shock and shed twice, and then also this is teaching tape. Now, for the other 6 guys in the first and second level, is not very good, but for him, this is a good individual play within the defense, making a good football play. So good for him. And this is it's not all bad when you're losing, but this is a good play. This is a good winning play, and it's even a better play for a guy that's only been playing linebacker for less than a year. And so, get up on the line, play somewhat of a tight 9. You're playing that thing pretty sturdy and pretty salty, and that's a good play by Bullock.
And John Bullock is a guy who you said, Jay, hasn't played a lot. He's played a lot of football here at Nebraska, but not in games as a former walk-on. He got rewarded with a scholarship this offseason. But talk about intense dudes. John Bullock is really intense, and he's having a really good season for his first time being out there full time. So I really enjoyed some of the stuff from John Bullock. I know it wasn't a great day defensively, obviously, for the whole program, but I thought John Bullock kind of flied around, and that's kind of what he does. He kind of, he's a hair on fire type guy, running around and laying some hits on people. But for this second play, also too, I just thought that this is maybe a good job by John Bullock and nice job from Nick Hendrick, who obviously with the issues that Luke Reimer had in the morning, it was kind of a weird situation. After the game, Matt Rule said Luke was with the team at the hotel. He was at the team breakfast and then was taken to the hospital to get checked out because he was kind of feeling some just hurting. And we all obviously know last week against Louisiana Tech, he went down with a first quarter injury and never returned. He was on the sideline though. So just kind of a weird deal. We'll get more information on Luke from Rule hopefully on Monday morning. So, but yeah, Jay, just getting back to the game here. What do you see again? I thought this is a really good job from John Bullock, kind of holding his ground and mucking things up.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, you play with good leverage right here. Look at him. He's attacking the block, right? He's staying square, and he's fighting like heck. I mean, he's splitting a double team. Now watch if you go back, it's a double wing set right here, right? Okay. This is where, and if you pause it right here, if you can, this is Michigan letting you know we're coming right at you. Okay, you got big 44 their fullback, double wing. So pretty much this is 13 personnel, or if you 22 personnel. There ain't no fair. They ain't doing nothing but running at you. It's a one-man route, if anything. There's not the tight ends can catch it, but if you look at their alignment and look at that wing right there, he's looking to see who he's blocking. See how his head's cocked in right there?
Yeah.
Okay, this is run. We used to call it Army, right? So look at Bullock. He's attacking the first tight end. Here's a little secret here for you, Steve. If you ever get jumped, you always pick one guy and kick his butt first, before you can kick the second guy. But that's what John Bullock does right here. They have a little bit of a stunt right there. But look at how he's able to attack 89, kind of stay alive and split. Nick Heinrich is free, but then Bullock makes the play, gets in and gets the solo or assist right here. Look at the shock he's able to do. Right, you attack the guys right here, shock and release head. Right,
that's square, a knockback.
Right, square, he's winning, right? He's staying alive. He's locating the ball, right? Throwing him off a little bit of a hold there from 89, but his pads are still square, so the 89 can't get any movement, right? And so then it's a good job by Nick Heinrich, being a product of the initial stunt there with Jamari Butler's looping outside, right? You would like to see Nick hit that a little bit. See how he paused a little bit?
Yeah.
Now this is being a little bit of critique right there. You got to go, right? But it's still, he still would have been there by the same time. Good job by Jamari Butler as well, looping around, right? Taking on 2 guys, 44. This is a winning play by Jamari Butler, Bullock, and Nick Heinrich. Really good winning play right here. Watch this, right? Locate one guy, get him off you. Another guy, get him off you. Good finish there by Jamari Butler, showing that fight right there. Yeah, that's something that wasn't there wasn't enough of by, say, like John Bullock, right? And Jamari Butler. Look at John Bullock right there, right here. Boom. Square pads. He's hanging all over you. Stay doing your job and then becoming a football player is how you get back to playing the defense that everybody, and I'm sure Tony White's gonna highlight these plays. He should. You got a couple guys playing at a different rate of speed than everybody else. Those guys need to be highlighted.
And speaking of highlighted, let's go to Heinrich Haarberg on this 34-yard pitch and catch to Billy Kemp. Look, a lot has been made about Heinrich Haarberg's quarterback mechanics, his footwork, his arm angle, likes to sidearm some throws sometimes. That obviously impacted his performance against Michigan, because I think Michigan was they watched the film, they saw the arm release, the angle that it comes out, and they were probably taught to get your hands up a lot more than usual in this game, maybe. So, look, I think Heinrich Harburg's footwork here is all over the place, but the end result is good. And I think, Jay, you mentioned that it kind of worked out in his benefit the way he did this, right?
Yeah, man. Sometimes Heinrich Harburg is back there. He's got spaghetti legs, man, like he's Elvis Presley dancing or something. But he's a big old strong kid, and he's able to kind of do some things with his arm strength with bad footwork. But right here, he's dancing right wide, too wide of a base, and kind of slings it there. And I think his odd kind of body functions, because look at, they're reading the quarterback right here, right? Number 0, and they're reading the quarterback, all eyes on the quarterback here. And it's able to allow Billy Kemp to get open, right? So this right here, he got it right here, right? Look how wide his base is right there. That is too wide right there. But then it allows Billy Kemp to shake a little bit and break and get into the window between the underneath coverage and the top-down defender, and is allow him to catch it right in between the middle of the field. Like I said, remember, if you want to become explosive, attack the middle of the field. And then you're able to get it to Billy Kemp, and he's able to make a big play on 3rd and 5, not just get the first down, but explosive play, flip the field, and potentially, give Nebraska a chance to score, which they didn't because of not a good execution on 4th and 1. But this right here, and it's pretty good. I mean, it's pretty good pass protection, clean pocket. He could have stepped up there, even with good footwork. He could have threw it right over that umpire's face, and Billy Kemp would have caught it on the other side of the end. But it worked out the same way. It doesn't have to be pretty, but get the job done. But the one thing that Heinrich Harburg did a good job here of being a little bit patient and taking advantage of the good pocket against a good pass rush, right? So you got to give everybody credit. But then the best thing about it, he kept his eyes downfield, right? He knew Billy Kemp was in a winning situation, and they probably saw this on tape. One-on-one against the slot, they want to get it to Billy Kemp, and they knew it was man-to-man, right? You knew number 0, you have him off, right? Right there, he knew it was right there. It's a good throw right there, inside win by Billy Kemp, so good on Billy Kemp. Good delivery by Heinrich Harburg, even though it didn't look pretty. It all worked out.
So, Jay, what's your opinion on Heinrich Harburg's his delivery motion, the sidearm? We've seen him sidearm some throws to the flats against Northern Illinois and Louisiana Tech, which I think personally that works out well that way for those throws to the flats. But Michigan got their hands on some bad balls.
Right.
So, just what's your opinion on Heinrich Harburg and his throwing motion, his throwing angle?
I think I think his motion is messed up because of his fundamentals, right? And it's being a little bit more patient, right? And this is something that you probably got away with in high school because, you're a superior athlete out there, and he does have arm strength. Now, that's where you see that's where you see such a drastic change in velocity and accuracy, right? Because of the bad fundamentals. Look at right here. This is not a Manning camp type of fundamental passing, right? And so, yes, he has a little bit of a sidearm loop delivery, but you also see that he's not able to get up on his toes or usually really use his big, powerful legs because of the lack of fundamentals. So Michigan definitely game plan for it based on his arm angle, and that's good for them. And they got good coaches, and Nebraska coaches might do the same if you're playing against a shorter quarterback or somebody that throws the ball to eliminate his height advantage. And it's just something that he has to continue to work on. And it's not going to be perfect overnight, but it's something Heinrich Harburg and the coaches that probably just need to be aware of because it affected the game, right? And it's affected, could affect the passing game in the future. So you always work on your weaknesses during practice. You just don't show up and blindly just go through practice and act like you're perfect, because if they were perfect, we wouldn't be, losing 45-7. So you got to just be diligent about it and really be conscientious of it, and then also do it enough to when you get into high pressure situations, which is games, that you can do it, under pressure and just as your daily routine as far as playing quarterback.
And during my rewatch, this is one of the plays that I think kind of really stood out to me. This is the first play of Nebraska's offensive series. So first quarter, 9:20 left in the first quarter, 12 seconds on the play clock, send Alex Bullock in motion, and just the right guard, Nuri whiffs here. I just thought that was for such a big game, and for it to be your first drive, first play, and to come out and get it just a nothing run. I thought that was kind of deflating, really. And then obviously the second play, Heinrich Haber gets his pass tipped, picked off by big Kenneth Grant, 339-pound Kenneth Grant. And then Michigan scores 3 plays later, and it's 14-0 in a blink of an eye in like 15 minutes of real time. It was just crazy how quickly everything snowballed for Nebraska. But Jay, what are you seeing here from the offensive line in this run play?
Well, one of the biggest things that I would say the Nebraska offensive linemen, this is this is on the players, is to eliminate direct access, right? And I call them direct access plays, and this is in their whiffs, right? When we first started doing these black shirt breakdowns, I think it was the Wisconsin game, and Benton when we needed a drive, he had 2 direct access plays and pretty much stymied anything you could do to win. So right here, right? Nuri, you know where he's at. He's the biggest dude out there, so you got him, right? You got a block down, and you see right there, the head dip right there by Nuri, and he's a big old athletic guy. He's going to swim. You got to kind of attack the hip right there for him, right? So that where he can't go anywhere. Then by him beating Nuri so quickly, he just blew up the middle. Now you look at, let's go down the line. Chris Jenkins Jr., right? Sunday guy, a real deal player.
NFL
look at the
guy.
leverage look how low he is for 300 pounds, 6'4", 300, right? Look at the hands. Look at the split, right? Bryce Benhart comes off of it. He splits the double team. We talked about John Bullock right there, right? You talk about square pads, being physical, being strong, playing with good leverage, football strength versus weight room strength. They displayed it right there, but this play was stymied right in the beginning from the whiff on Big Grant, which allowed kind of Grant to kind of knock Bryce Benhart off a little bit, right? And you would like to see how Bryce Benhart runs into Nuri, it looks like, because Nuri whiffed it. And so, it's just, when you run plays like this, you got to win at the point of attack right there. It's stymied. It's done, right? It would take a great individual effort by someone else to get this to go, right? You got Bonner in at fullback, right? Decent block right there, but the edge is soft because of the direct access play with the Nuri miss, and then obviously not a good enough double team on Chris Jenkins Jr. by the tight end and Bryce Benhart. So it was a negative play at the point of attack, and with the direct access there in the first play of the game, that's not how you want to start. And then obviously I think it snowballed from there. But at some point in time, as players and leaders on the team, you got to, okay, the scoreboard is the scoreboard. Let's get back to let's just do the basics, right? The basics is block the guy or not let him just blow the whole play up. You have a angle on him. He's a big athletic guy. You got to attack. You can't play with the same leverage he has, right? You got to expect him to swim move you. You got to expect for him to be very violent and strong in there. And when you look at it right here, right, Nuri was way over I call it way over his skis, right? So that means you were a waist bender versus a knee bender. Watch this kind of lunge right here. You see that lunge?
Yep.
Right? He might have been able to throw you off the other way and split you anywhere just because you're like, I'm almost guaranteeing the feet went dead on contact. See how that left foot kind of slid way forward?
Yeah.
Right there?
Mm-hmm.
And that just because, one, I've done it before, as far as taking off blocks, but then 2, when you're doing that on contact, there's no way the human body can keep your feet going. You got to be choppy stuff. See that, how the left leg, you're just leaning right there and diving towards them and you're whiffing. See that?
Mm-hmm.
See how that like left shoulder comes way above your right? You want to pin him down, so that right shoulder needs to be higher. You see that? And so what I mean by that is, so essentially you need to be left foot short, right foot long. If I had to get back and do it, and I'm just talking pure angles there. So that was definitely a minus play right there, and that's what result of it was the first play of the game.
Similar to that first play of the game was this one kind of stood out to me too in the second quarter with 8:21 left, 19 on the play clock, 1st and 10. So you got 1st and 10, ball and 20. This is a great opportunity to get a good 3-4 yard run on first down, set the drive up well. And then I think at least to my eyes, we have Ethan Piper pulling here and just does not get a solid block on this edge guy here, and he sets the edge and takes out Grant.
Well, it's the same thing here. Look at the head here, right? I mean, he's pulling, actually a decent pull, kind of tight. You know this guy's going to show up. Michigan players are going to show up, right? And the fullback's got the linebacker. I think that's Ernest Hausman.
It is.
And we'll talk about that. Ernest Hausman does a heck of a job there against Bonner. Welcomes him to playing fullback in the Big Ten, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Ethan Piper on the kickout block against the nickel or kind of a little pipsqueak corner here. Look at the head right here. Look at his head dip on contact, right? He's not just going to let you block him, but you whiff right here. Head down, eyes closed, kind of slipped you. You can almost deal with the stalemate between Bonner and Hausman, because you see Hausman ends up on the ground. Now, I know he got tripped down, but Hausman's coming. Boom. You know, really, to be honest with you, Bonner it's 50-50. Two guys, they kind of collided. This is like two Rams ramming right here.
Yep.
No fair dodging. Boom. Okay. Hausman's bigger, good shock and release. The play was lost with Ethan Piper not coming inside it. Right here, we need to be right shoulder upfield, right? You need to be inside. Look at that right there. Look at his helmet right there, right? See right there. See how his helmet is on that white line?
Yep.
Right?
Needs to be on the inside of him.
Needs to be on the inside. Those are the little things, right? These are the little things that Coach Raelo, that I know that he's teaching them, that needs to be executed in real time. And then also, if you could go back a little bit, Steve, look how his feet are crossed up, right? See, look at his left foot. Watch his left foot cross his body. Right? Watch his left foot cross his body right there. Yeah. See how then his shoulders get up high, and then guess where his head goes? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Miss. So that's where it is. And so that play right there, if he's able to kick him out and get him like a half a yard out that way, then you're putting the onus on Grant. Well, first of all, the number five can't make this play. So now with the stalemate right here, you like this block with Bonner, right?
He does. I think Bonner does a good enough job on Hausman. Hausman did a great job here, but I think that it's on the safety then to make this tackle if Piper does his job.
Yeah, that's a 5-yard gain, 4-yard gain. Yeah. Right. So look at it right here. I mean, just look how this is the hard thing about what the coaches are seeing, right? You're seeing, I think it's Ben Scott getting up on the second level. Good job here, right? A good job of, I think, the left tackle and tight end, right? Good stalemate. Look, even set the new line of scrimmage, right?
Yep.
Good. A 50-50 against a somewhat hybrid fullback against a Big Ten linebacker. 50-50 stalemate. So then the onus would, if Piper hits his block right here, or just gets first of all, he whiffs him, so he didn't even block him. So if Piper gets a body on him, then now we can fairly evaluate Anthony Grant or put the pressure on him to make Ernest Hausman win or miss on a 50-50 block. Or even if Piper was able to say, let's just play, he was able to get a good, realistic seal block, and you would expect Anthony Grant to hit it outside. But right here, the play's supposed to be hit up inside right here, right? A little G ISO, right? Hat on hat, right? Yeah, it's got to be that. At the worst case scenario, even if Ernest Hausman kind of gets off and trips him up, that's a 3 or 4 yard gain on first down. Marcus Satterfield is thinking like, okay, we got a 4-yard gain. That's a winning play. We're ahead of the chains. Now that was a half a yard gain, 1 yard gain when it was blocked up correctly by 9 other guys or 8 other guys. That's got to be a winning play, because when you play against a top ranked defense in Michigan, it is not going to be perfect. They're going to have guys that are going to be able to win some blocks or win some matchups. They have guys that are going to be able to, stalemate blocks. And so when you're at the point of attack again, you cannot lose. That's a direct access play. And those 2 plays are indicative of why you saw the struggles. But then also you got to think those are indicative of what fans don't see, and what a lot of people don't see in real time is like, well, dang, we got this blocked up pretty dang good, except for one guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the most important guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the urgency that we talked about at times of when you're that guy, which everybody should have that urgency, but when you're that guy at the point of attack, and maybe you need to understand when you are or aren't that guy, you have to get your block, or you cannot allow a direct access. And if you want an example of that, in that play right there, is Piper allowed direct access, complete loss. Bonner, right? A stalemate. You can argue this is it, right? Because in the Big Ten, you're not going to come through with a hybrid linebacker and blow them up out of there. But it's a clean block. It's 50-50. Houseman does a really good job. Give it to him, right? So there's two guys at the point of attack, one guy that you can deal with, right? You probably would like Bonner's head on the other side, right? If you want to get into it. But he hit his guy. His guy wasn't direct access, right? That's the difference of first contact at the 22-yard line, 23-yard line versus first contact at the 20-yard line, and that's where you snap the ball.
Absolutely. Obviously we got to end it on this one because this one caught my attention during the game. It's 4th and 1 on Michigan's 11-yard line. This is a really key game. This was my turning point game in my turning point column that runs on Sunday mornings, the morning after the game. Matt Rule calls a timeout initially before this, trying to get them to jump off sides likely. They come out and put the quarterback in shotgun. And Rule talked about this after the game too. He wanted this executed better, especially from Heinrich Haarberg, to not jump, maybe even do a little reach, which is sort of dangerous. But Jay, first of all, there's a debate in short yardage situations, whether it's 4th and 1, 4th and 2, whatever. Are you a fan of shotgun on those plays, or would you like to see this under center?
I'm 50-50. I mean, I like you under the center, and everybody loves it now because of the Eagles tush push and all that. So I'm a fan of that, right? But I'm also a fan of the way Tom Brady will always look for the soft spot in the sneaks, and his 4th and 1 percentage, I think, was like 95%. So I'm a big fan of underneath the center. But I will tell you this, if we're going to go shotgun, right, I would like this formation to be spread out. So that means you will take 3 out of there, whatever his number is right next to him. That corner's out of there, and that safety hybrid right there, number 7, is out of there. So what that does is that would actually open up the run lanes on the outside. That means 17, the outside linebacker, and 32 can't just sell out and go in there and punch a hole in there. But at the end of the day, when you're 6'4", 225 pounds, you need to be putting your head down and running right up the back of Ben Scott and Ethan Piper, right? There's no miss there. You just jumped for no reason. I mean, run this thing back right here. Get it. You say, Anthony Grant, I'm coming right behind you. Or you go behind me. Let's see if there's an area right here. All right, Ben Scott's got the hardest job. He got 350 pounds right in front of him.
Yep.
Right? But good snap. Okay, they submarine.
17 is winning that block against
17
Lindenmeyer.
Yeah, Lindenmeyer got beat right there. 17 made the play.
17's a good player. All Big Ten out edge guy.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, but Heinrich Haarberg didn't rewind that back real quick.
Well, we got a different angle if you want to do that one too.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
There we go.
All right, well, here we go. Right? Now, I will say this. If you're going to run that, I'm bringing Bullock in there. I don't need you to fake a I don't need you to fake a route. Why don't you too high there by Lindenmeyer, way too high, right? Right? He probably didn't think the play was going to come his way. Yeah, that was that was just poor execution. Quarterback buried his head too. And this is football awareness. Now, if you're going to run this type of play here, bring in another tight end and let's go mano a mano then. Okay, we're going to go tough man contest. And let's bring in somebody. So then Lindenmeyer. But Lindenmeyer's got to do a better job, right? Way too high. right? You got an easy block here, but wait, look how high he is. He's higher than everybody else on the offensive line, right? Now, granted, he's a freshman. He's done a really good job throughout the season so far of blocking. This is just not his. This is not on his Lindenmeyer highlight tape at the end of the season.
Yep.
Now, I will tell you this: Nuri's too high. Look at him right there. See that? Watch Nuri. Too high. See that?
Low man
Ben
wins.
Scott. Ben Scott is going to probably be high. He's snapping. Nuri way too high. You got to attack the hip here. Get down and get lead. See that? So the Michigan plays with square pads. So with square pads, you can't be pad to pad to get movement. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to be underneath that. Again, the right tackle, Prohaska and Benhart, way too high. Chris Jenkins Jr. So really, just Nebraska just got their butt kicked.
Mm-hmm.
And but then also you'd like your quarterback to be able to make a play. And
For
so
sure.
really, it was. You're right. It was a turning point play because it took the momentum out of the game. Even if you got that fourth down and got 3 points, you still got some momentum. So, my thoughts are this was a learning experience. I also think, Steve, it was a wake up call. I think some of the habits that were displayed in the first half prior to last games in the first half against Northern Illinois and Louisiana Tech is the same kind of attitude and intensity and laissez-faire attitude that they came out with, but Michigan wasn't playing any games. And so I think it's a wake-up call because I know Matt Rule has been talking to these guys, and I'm sure all the coaches are talking about urgency, starting fast, intensity, so forth. Well, when you're kind of skating by and winning, it can go in one ear out the other. So now I think the wake-up call is there, and I fully expect a different team come Friday in the first 15 minutes in Champaign, Illinois.
The season is not over. In fact, it's just beginning really with this Illinois game. The next 7 games are very winnable. I think Heinrich Harburg has shown enough flashes to be able to lead you to think that, if the defense regroups and plays the way that we know it can against these next 7 offenses, I think 6 wins is definitely on the table still. So this is an absolutely massive game for Nebraska going to Champaign for a weird Friday night game. These Friday night things can get weird. Let's get weird. It's going to get weird. So I don't know. We will. I mean, this is where it gets fun, really. Just to see how this team recuperates, and we're going to see what they're made of. Just like Matt Rule said after the game, we're going to really see what this team is made of against Illinois team that is not the Illinois of last year. The defense has taken a step back with all the pieces that it is missing. Luke Altmaier is not lighting the world on fire as a quarterback, so we will see. It will be one to watch for sure. But for Jay Foreman, I am Steve Marik, and that was the Blackshirt Breakdown, Michigan style. We'll catch you all later.